I'll do it.
Okay.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're thankful for the opportunity we have to meet together one final time as our group for this class. We're thankful for the things that we've been able to learn, for the relationships we've been able to build, and tonight we're especially thankful for the opportunity we have to report on our accountability projects and the things we learn from it. Please help us to do well and to have this be a good experience. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Do we have any volunteers on who wants to start?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Alrighty. So like when I started this accountability project, I had the goal, and I know he told us to kind of think about what we wanted out of it, and the person that we wanted to become after doing this. And so I thought about it a while, and I think in my own life, like things that I've been struggling with like lately or over the past few years have been things related to not being balanced in life, or just getting too focused in one area of life, whether it's school or work or whatever it is, and kind of forgetting about other things. So a lot of the goals that I set with this accountability project had to deal with being well balanced and developing talents. And so a couple of like the specific goals that stood out to me that I wanted to do. I wanted to be balanced spiritually as well as physically. So there's a couple different goals that kind of went under each of those categories. So the specific goals that I had for the accountability project were to work out for 15 minutes a day, to read scriptures for 10 minutes a day, and the other two daily goals were to play guitar for an hour and a half every day, and to dance for 15 minutes a day. So obviously, playing guitar has been a passion of mine for a long time. That's something that I really wanted to make sure I'm developing as fully as I could. So that's why I set a big goal for that one. As far as weekly goals, I wanted to have a private dance lesson every week. I wanted to read a non-school book for 30 minutes a week, and then for monthly goals, I wanted to have a personal training session once a month, and I actually wanted to do ice skating twice a month as well. So I set out with a lot of goals, and I knew from the start, I was like, okay, I don't know how well this is going to go, but these are all things like I want to be better at, and that I wanted to do. And so the first couple weeks, and I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but for the first couple weeks of me, I know in the class content and stuff, there was like accountability project reminders and all of that kind of stuff, and that helped me to kind of stay on track, and I know my partner that I had checking up on me was good with it for the first couple weeks. But then after that, things started to kind of like die down a bit. I feel like there weren't like as much like reminders, as far as the class went and stuff like that, and so I started slacking as far as keeping track of the goals themselves, even though most of the goals I was still doing pretty good with. But some of the big ones that were more time commitment, I started not to think about until these last few weeks. And I'm like, oh shoot, I need to go back and fill in, which of these goals I've been doing good with. And so I found out, I think, overall, as I tried to keep all of these goals, I quickly found out what things were more of a priority to me. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned from doing this accountability project, was to see just what kind of things were most important to me. And in order to develop some strong habits, I had to give up habits that were just not as important, whether it was like, I was watching maybe too much Netflix or things like that, just random things that I didn't know I was spending so much time doing. I started to be more aware of those things after doing this project, and I was more willing to give up those things to make time for things that were more important to me. And in this case, I was, playing guitar and developing that talent and getting better at scripture reading, because that's always been something that I've struggled with. And so that was the big lesson that I learned. And I would say the second lesson that I learned from doing this project was just to simply, if I have goals, to not only have those goals, and it's all good to have someone check up on you to see how you're doing, but to also schedule, those goals as much as possible. So towards the end, I would start to schedule scripture study in my calendar, and put guitar practice in my calendar, and things like that, and try and set aside time for doing activities. I would be more committed to actually get most of my goals done. Not that it always worked out, because plans change, and you got to be flexible with things. But I think those were the two biggest lessons. One is to prioritize certain goals so that you know what you need to do first, and the second lesson just to simply schedule the goals. But yeah, thanks for listening to my presentation, and whoever wants to go next is welcome to.
I'll go next.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead, Matt.
Oh, no, you're fine. Go ahead.
So I kind of wrote out what I would say tonight. I don't have a PowerPoint or anything like that. Just kind of what I learned from each goal. But first, before I got into that, I wanted to start by thanking you guys in the group. I look back on our first meeting together where we did that wilderness survival thing, and then as I look back on the case studies that we've done and the discussions that we've had, I think we've become a better organization, and I think we've become more effective at finding solutions to problems together. And I think, with all the issues we had with 3.0 not working and kind of the issues of the class, I think it kind of proved the point of the class, which is that if we have an effective team, even if we're in an organization that is less effective, we can rise above and help the company become more effective. So I just wanted to thank you guys. And also wanted to thank my partner, who was on me all the time, checking my my spreadsheet to make sure that I got done with all of my goals. So as I started this project, I started thinking about what I wanted to accomplish, and the first thing that came to my mind is I wanted to make my family a more effective organization. And that in the first lesson, we were told for this project that if we want to make a change in an organization or make it more effective, that it has to start with us. So it has to start with you. And so that led me to think about what I could do to make my family more effective, or to help my family be better. And the first thing I thought of was that I wanted to deepen my relationship with my 3-year-old daughter. Between work and school and callings and everything, it's so hard, I think, now to balance time. And so I put down a goal to spend at least 20 minutes a day of one-on-one time with her. This is different time than normal time, right? It's uninterrupted. It's time that's spent without electronics. And like I said, it's set apart and different from the other things that would normally happen, like teaching her letters and numbers and that kind of thing. One thing that we started doing on top of that is we started going on a daddy-daughter date once a week, and that proved to be such an amazing thing for our relationship. It's now to the point where she really looks forward to daddy time every day, and she's begun asking, "Is it time for daddy time today?" And she says, "I love daddy time." And so during this time, we kind of talk about what she's doing, what she's learning. We'll play with dollies, or she does my princess hair, or things like that. And it turns out that it's never just really 20 minutes. And I found that I don't think I can really find a better way to spend my limited time during the day. And while we had a great relationship before this project, it's really made it special. And she knows that her dad is setting apart some special time just for her. So that's probably the best goal I had. Yesterday we went on our last daddy-daughter date as far as this project is concerned. And, I took her to get a smoothie, and we sat and talked, and she kind of danced to the music that was on the store radio. And, she said, "Daddy, I love you, and I love coming on these dates with you." And I have to admit, that I got a little teared up, and I thought that was pretty great, all thanks to kind of this project. So not only did that deepen my relationship with my daughter, but it affected my wife as well. And, she saw that I was taking extra efforts to be involved in the family. and so that made her a lot more happy, which of course makes happy wife, happy life, right? Next, I thought if I wanted to build a more effective family organization, I should take my health a little more seriously. So I set exercise goals and got to the point where I was doing a 5-mile walk/run every day, except for Sunday. And I'm getting a little bit older. I'm not young 20-year-old guy anymore, and so this goal will help me stick around and be with my family a little bit longer, and in that way it'll help me build a more effective family. The next goal that I had is one thing I realized about myself is that I have a hard time recognizing when God is doing things in my life, and being able to recognize it and kind of, hey, that was awesome. So I kind of think it's easy to get caught up in the grind of life, trying to get promoted, trying to further your career, trying to get, in school a certain grade point average. And so I think that's really led me to not being able to recognize God working in my life. And so I set a goal to journal 3 things a day where I realized God's hand in my life. And I also allowed myself to record if I saw God working in the life of my family. And this kind of really opened my eyes just how much our Father in heaven is at work in our life. And it really, at first, made me feel really guilty for not recognizing it as much in the beginning. And seeing not only for me, but how much he directs the life of my family as an organization as well. This kind of led me to my next goal, which was to be a more thankful person. I found that, along with the last goal, I wasn't really a very thankful person. Or at least I wasn't as thankful as I thought kind of a disciple should be. I found that I complained too much, and that my prayers were more asking for things rather than being thankful for the things that our Father in heaven had given us. And so I set a goal that once a week on Sunday, I would read a talk on being thankful, and I would ponder it and study it. And I was really proud that throughout the project I was able to achieve this goal every week but one. And I paid the consequence for missing that week. But it was also interesting that my wife mentioned to me that she could tell a difference in my attitude from not having done that for that week. And that kind of proved to me that the goal was having the desired effect. So I was thankful for that. And it changed my prayers. I went for asking for tons of things from our Heavenly Father to really thanking Him for more things. And what that made me realize is that, the more thankful we are, the more blessed we are. I think that kind of makes sense with life in general. And then my final goal I had was to begin reading the Book of Mormon for at least 20 minutes a day. I have to admit that I've been pretty bad at this for the last year or two, and haven't really read all that much personally like I should, other than getting ready to give lessons for Sunday school and that kind of thing. So I was able to stick to this goal every day for the semester, and the results were, kind of as expected. My testimony grew, it strengthened, my spiritual muscles were built, and I was able to receive the witness again that the Book of Mormon is true. And I think it's always great to receive that testimony and kind of get ourselves a little more centered on the path. Like the other goals, this affected my family as a whole as well, as it kind of urged my wife to do the same thing, and it's been really good for our family. So, all in all, this project has had some pretty profound effects on my life. I wanted to become a better-rounded person, and I think that this really helped me to do that. I was able to really stick to the script, and mainly because of my partner in the class sticking on top of me, I was able to pretty much achieve the goals every time I was supposed to, with some unexcused times where I had to pay the price, which was to buy movie tickets for the person that called me out. It was really nice to see how much accountability kind of forced you to do the goals that you had set for yourself. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for being in this group with me and for listening to my project. Appreciate it.
Great.
Okay, Matt, I think it's your turn.
All right. I've got a slideshow.
Okay. Do you know where to share your screen at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you guys see it okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so this is my accountability project. A lot like Mike, I wanted to, I'm a new dad. My son will be turning 1 next week, and it's crazy that it's gone by that fast, but here it is. So that it really changed my priorities. It sounds cliche, but it really, that's how it goes. Is you have a kid and things change. So I wanted to become the role model that my family needs and deserves. I really wanted to be able to spiritually lead my family by example of what it means to be a good husband, a good father, a good brother, son, and a disciple of Christ. The reason I wanted to do these things is because I've always felt that the most important things in the gospel are the foundational things, the simple things, the seminary answers that we talk about so frequently, but always seem to be harder to do than to than just to say. And we know that we're promised that when we build on that sure foundation, that all of our trials and troubles can be handled and dealt with. So my goals are all centered around reestablishing the basics and my foundation in the gospel in order to be a better spiritual leader for my family. So this is a list of my goals. One of the things I notice that I always tell my wife that bothers me is when I notice people go out to eat when they're on a date. Living in Rexburg, that's all the time. When we go out to eat, there's always everyone on a date. Did anyone, are they ignoring each other during dinner, just on their phones, or and that just seemed to be a pet peeve of mine. But I noticed more and more, and my wife pointed out to me that that's something that I do and was doing more and more, at least at home. Not so much when we went out, but when I was home at the dinner table, I wasn't having conversations with her. I was spending more time on my phone. So one of my first goals was refraining from using electronics during meals. So that means turning off the TV, making sure nothing's on, that we can just have conversation time. And I think that'll really be helpful once the kids get older. Reading my scriptures and praying morning and evening. Something I've always not been great at as far as being extremely regular. So getting in that routine was really important for me. I've always been told to write in a journal, and I've always been really bad at it. So did I write in a journal? And then I wanted to write in, I have a journal for my son that when he was born I got and said I was going to write something spiritual and personal to him every day in it. And I did it really well for about a month and kind of fell off the wagon, so I wanted to get back in that habit of, what things do I want my son to know? If I were to, leave tomorrow, what things do I want him to learn from me? And then I had a couple weekly goals of being more regular in temple attendance, attending the temple every week, and then performing service for somebody outside my home. It's easy to get caught up in school and work and family time, but we need to serve when we have that chance. So here's kind of an accountability of those weeks. I did pretty well. I had a couple different consequences, and all of these were I think that motivated me more than anything was I made these consequences really severe, at least in my head. I hate running, so the first consequence was running 3 miles in one visit at the gym. It's probably the worst thing I can think of is running. Not being able to have any type of entertainment, TV shows or games, anything like that for 1 week. And my third option was I could give whoever called me out, my wife or my accountability partners, $25 to be spent in any way. And I'm really proud to say that these were scary enough to me that I didn't miss any days. I only had some excused days. We went on a family vacation and I got excused for some of those things, but I did really well. Surprisingly, I really didn't think it was going to go that well for me, but surprised myself. So what I wanted to do was, be a better role model for my family, to be a spiritual leader, and to build on that foundation. What I ended up doing was growing as an individual. At first I wanted to do this for my family, but in the end, as I was going, and at the end, I realized that I was really doing this for me. And if my family could recognize that I was working and doing that, then good. But if not, then I knew that I was working at that and doing better. And just like Mike was saying, you grow more in touch with the Spirit. You gain more of a testimony of the gospel. You start to realize more the Lord's hand in your life. And just like, it's kind of funny, Mike, just like what you said, my wife mentioned to me that, that week that we were on vacation and I didn't go to the temple, how much, more angry or grumpy I was. But, I was able to be less grumpy and less irritable when I was spending time with my family. Some things that I would do differently in the future. I know it wasn't really in the scope of this project, but having some goals that would me and my wife could work on together, I think would be really good for me and for her. It was really difficult to do those goals on my own. I knew that they were personal goals, and it was nice because I knew that if she was having a bad day, it didn't matter because it's all on me. But at the same time, I can't rely on somebody else to motivate me. It all had to be intrinsic. I would also want to invite other family members and friends to do those goals with me, kind of the same thing to make that process a little easier. And, when you find something that works for you that you're excited about, you want to share that with others. So that's kind of where I got that from. And then in the future, I definitely want to continue working. I definitely notice a change in my life when I've kept these goals, and, continuing to do that in the future will only help me. So I put a lot of effort into this project, but I think I got a lot more from it than the effort I put in. I learned that at the end of the day, I can't have excuses, and that I'm the only one who can hold myself accountable. I also realized that when I've made goals in the past, I failed because I was doing it for others. I didn't have an intrinsic motivation to do it for myself. And lastly, I noticed that making internal changes and knowing what I could do on myself was a lot easier than trying to control and focus on things that were outside of my control, such as things at work that I don't have any power over, things of that nature. So it was much more rewarding to know that I had all the control over these specific goals, and if I wanted these to be achieved, it was all on me. So getting those done really, really felt good to know that that was the case. So but yeah, just to echo what was said before, thanks for the semester. It's been good, guys, and thanks for all that you do.
Great, Matthew.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn. Can you hear me all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I didn't prepare a presentation, but at some point I would like to share a little bit of my screen. But first of all, who I wanted to become. I wanted to be able to trust myself. I think that was the most important part of who I wanted to become for this project. I had noticed that since I work at home and I study at home and I pretty much do everything at home, I have been becoming lazy and unorganized, and I didn't like that. I wanted to change that. That was the main thing in my project. I realized that I was playing video games for too long. I was just not reading, not doing things to grow. I wasn't even like helping around in the house as much as I could, since I'm always at home. So I wanted to be proactive. I wanted to be a person who can do things by himself without having a boss or parents or somebody else like going after me and telling me, hey, you need to do this. I wanted to be able to set goals for myself and be able to trust in myself that I was going to be able to do them, because I had tried to set goals many times, and I would do it for a little bit, but but at the end just like forget about it, or something would happen. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to have more organization in my life and eliminate those bad habits, like playing video games too much, and be more effective in the things that I do. So I want to share the goals that I created for to use my time more effectively here at home. Let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see. The whole screen. Let's see if it. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So my first goal, I'm doing a presentation, but I have my paper here. My first goal was to work at least 2 hours a week in my personal projects. These were a website that I was working on, but I couldn't continue. And then some backup projects were taking courses in Coursera and working on my family history. So what I did is that at the beginning I worked a little bit on my website, but I had some technical problems that were just beyond my capabilities. So I couldn't continue with it. And I started taking a Chinese course in Coursera. I don't think I have learned a lot yet. I just knew a few phrases, but it's been very interesting, and I like being able to use my time in something productive rather than just doing other things like watching movies or playing video games for too long. And then I also started working in my family history. That was one of the things that I really found a lot of success in. I actually went over the 2 hours a week. Actually started working on it almost every day. Let me see if I can show you a little bit. This is my great-grandfather, and I was able to. Well, my grandma had like all the way to this generation here, and I was able to go all the way here to the 1700s, and not only in this branch, but also in a few others here and here. And then my wife and I started also helping my wife with her family history. We started taking names to the temple. My wife and I received a new calling as YSA advisors in my ward, and part of our responsibility is helping the young single adults work in their family history and take their own names to the temple, since it's one of the goals of the church in Mexico for this year. So I was able to accomplish a lot in that by working a little bit every day instead of doing other things. And let's see. My second goal was to read the scriptures every day. I started reading the Book of Mormon again. And along with that, I actually finished the Book of Mormon in German, which I had been trying to do for a long time. And my third goal was to read non-school books a little bit every day, like half an hour every day. I finished 2 of Harry Potter books, and then I started reading books about Mexican history, like in the colonial times, and I have been learning a lot from that. I had a personal goal that I won't get a lot into that, but let's see. And well, this one was cancelled. And then another one of my goals was to, let me close my screen now. Another one of my goals was to help more in the house. Like every week, I need to do all of the chores that I find. I need to do everything. Like my wife needs to get home at night and find everything ready, everything clean. She won't find anything to do in the house. So that was my weekly goal. And the results, well, some other the results. I actually struggled a little bit with some of them. For example, with I don't know why, but I had a hard time with reading the scriptures. There were days when I missed it, and I had to make up for it or do the consequence. But after a while, I got better at it. Another one of the struggles that I had was that some of my, I don't know how to call them, punishments, my consequences, were doing exercise, and some others were not playing video games for 1 day and then for 1 week. Also, like doing like 30 minutes of exercise, running for 10 minutes around the block, stuff like that. But one of the problems that I found with that is that I hated doing exercise so much that at some point I started like making excuses for not doing exercise and trying to find some way around it. And I found that once I gave in, it was easier to give in the next time. Like, hey, I didn't read today, or hey, I didn't I don't know, I didn't work on this today. Hey, so instead of doing the consequence, I was trying to find a way around it. So it was hard to get on track with that. Another struggle that I found was that at first I was very good at keeping up with my accountability partners. I would check on their goals every day, but after a while I started like not doing it that much, and that much as in the beginning. So some of the things that I would change for next time would be having more contact with my accountability partners, being able to really have a more direct report with them, rather than just sending an email and hey, do you remember to do your goals? Hey, I remind you to I don't know, update your spreadsheet and stuff like that. Like talking to them really and having a more personal like report to them, like hey, how was it? Hey, I did this, I accomplished this, I didn't do this. What about you? You know. In this project, I learned that it's hard to really change some things, but it's possible because I was able to do it. I really learned a lot from it. I learned that it's easy to set goals and make plans. It's easy to fulfill them at first, but then when that excitement of having these goals cools down, it becomes difficult. So that's when the real challenge starts. I learned that I don't change by a huge experience that suddenly changes my life forever. No, I learn by little things that I try to do every day, and then when I look back on them, they look bigger than they felt when I was doing them. You know? I learned that self-trust is fragile at first, but it needs to be built little by little, and it's a process that never ends. I actually, I think that I had success in this project, but I don't think is finished. I'm actually thinking about starting a new one, along with my wife or some other people around me. I'm already preparing my goals, and I'm going to yeah, I'm going to start a new one. I am grateful for this opportunity that I had to get my life back on track in these things, be more productive, be more organized with my time, and I know that the Lord really helped me with this, and I really liked this group and this semester, and even though we had difficulties with the class, I think it was worth it because of the things that I was able to learn, and this is my project. And thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Nevi.
So it's my turn, I think, right?
Yep.
Perfect, guys. Well, this week, for this project, I had, first I wanted to become specifically a better spouse. I think that I was having some troubles spending more time during the week with my wife because I was just arriving from work, and you know here in the city it's crazy the traffic, and sometimes I literally just arrive and connect in the meetings or start working some assignments. So sometimes we didn't talk or we didn't spend some time. So one of my goals was to spend more time with her, at least 30 minutes daily. Also, I wanted to set a specific amount of time in order to study my scriptures. I start to get a bad habit to just read 1 or 2 pages, and that was all. I think that I wasn't um, studying or taking advantage of this valuable time. So I set a goal to read at least 30 minutes all the mornings. So sometimes if got up late or something like that, I keep reading in the bus or in my way to the work. But I think that I really made a great progress. I study all the lessons of the Sunday school during all these months. So I have been able to um, understand better and get another impressions during the classes on Sundays. Also in the family evenings, we have been talking about this reading. So I think I have received some blessings from being obedient to these goals. Also, well, another goal that I had was to about working in my projects, and I think that that was the easy one because I had been working in the three different classes that I'm taking. I think that in all of them I'm working, or I will have a good grade at least. I think that it has been a little bit difficult because we all know that I learned 3.0 had several troubles and several difficulties, but I think that we could get through it, and now we are getting close to the end. I think that we made a great job. Another goal that I had was to about the physical ones. That was to make at least 30 minutes of exercise daily. But I must admit that got I counted and I had like more than 20 no's in this goal. I think that something went wrong, but you know there was a lot of traffic because of different strikes and manifestations here in the city. So instead of start arriving here at my home by 7 o'clock, I start arriving by 9, sometimes like 10. So it was pretty difficult to to complete all my activities or all these goals because I set four of them. So I think, or if I would have changed something, I think that I to become a better exposed with my wife. I think that we have improved our relationship now. I have the app and I talk with her. I start reviewing some things in our home, and then I start to work in my projects and in all the activities. I think that this project helped me to remember that there are things that matter most, and we can't just forget them, or we can just think that the things will be all right. We must keep working on them. And this project, I think that remember this important or this basic principle of obedience and also of endurance, because I have been endurance in these goals, and I would like to add another goals that give some service to another people, or talk about the church maybe with some coworkers. But I think that in the future I will be able to improve these goals and also become a better person. Also, thanks for all your help, for all your patience during this semester, and for your patience because I'm still struggling a little bit with the English, but I know that I really appreciate all your help that you gave me during this course. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
Well, first off, I want to thank everybody for their presentations tonight. I'm gonna do a screen share real quick of my Excel spreadsheet that I kept while doing the accountability project. So let me pull that up real quick. Hold on. So let's see if it'll let me do this. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, who I was trying to become during this semester was to become a better husband, father, and student. I think the biggest thing that I was trying to focus on more than anything was to become a better husband to my wife and know that she can count on me and know that I'm there to support her. This semester has been obviously a little bit different and difficult for us in other aspects because she's pregnant and we're expecting our second child in next month. So, and this pregnancy's not been the easiest. So that was one of my goals going into here is be that support there because, you know, she's had some rough times during this pregnancy. The other goal was to be able to come home and spend at least, try to spend at least 30 minutes with my daughter. Um, and that was something that I was trying to do the best that I possibly could when I came home from work, is to forget about homework, forget about work, and just try to spend time with my daughter. So some of the goals that I set during the course of this project were to complete all the homework assignments for the week, or daily, actually, I should say. They were daily goals. Update my goals by noon. Follow up with Stevie and Cheryl on their goals, and to spend 30 minutes daily with my daughter. And for the most part, I did a pretty good job of this. It was a learning curve for sure. There was days where I had to fit in the time. I didn't think I was gonna have the time, but I tried to fit in the time. But for the most part, I think I did a pretty good job. Another goal that I had was to update and reconcile the family budget on a weekly basis. This is actually more of a daily goal. It was kind of between, so I kind of just put it on both. It's a daily, monthly, and a weekly goal all in one, because I use a program for our family that I was given to or taught by my grandma to use, and I've used it ever since. And I like to try to stay on top of it as much as possible, so that our family can be um, financially stable, and make sure that things are in a row, and make sure things are going well. Um, the biggest thing for me was, for the most part, was trying to make sure that I got all these goals done. I set a couple of consequences for my accountability they may not seem like consequences, because they might be just stuff that you guys could avoid or anything like that. But for me, it was a pretty just heavy consequence. And the consequence, as you can see right here, is can't watch any sporting event that day or during the weekend if I didn't get the goals done over the weekend. And also can't do video games over the weekend or that day. There was only really one day that I missed that I recall, and I'm a huge sports fan, and I remember that night being one of the days where I had to force myself, but there was a BYU basketball game and I couldn't watch it. And that's one of those things, is the consequences, like you guys were saying, and your guys drive you to be accountable. And I thought that was this project was a very unique project. I've never done anything quite like this. I've set goals before. I've tracked my goals. I've tracked it before, but I've never really put those consequences in place. I've never had, oh, I need these consequences, because if I don't do these consequences, I'm not going to be accountable. And I think that's actually a really smart thing to do, not only for a class, but moving forward. And I think that's something that I took away from this project, not only being accountable and meeting my goals daily, but having a severe enough consequences to make you think, am I going to do this? Am I going to be accountable? Am I going to finish this assignment? Am I going to do this goal every day? Am I going to be doing this? And I think overall, this class has, I felt like for me coming to this class, organizational effectiveness, we can always learn more aspects on how we can be more organized. And I feel like for the most part, my life's been pretty organized, and I have a budget, so our finances are pretty organized. But, looking back, there's a couple things here and there that I obviously, that can help me be more organized. And this accountability project, I think, really helped me realize, you need to have goals, you need to have some kind of layout to help you see what you need to accomplish and be able to accomplish those goals. And I really think that helped me, and I did enjoy this project. I enjoyed being with you guys in this group. I know there was difficult times. I know it was not easy, because our class was obviously not set up like we thought it was going to be, and but overall I think we had a good attitude about it. Most of us came together and still met every week, which I'm grateful for you guys. I'm glad I'm not the only one that just kind of showed up and like, how great, I'm going to have this, discussion by myself. And I think we had really meaningful discussions together as a group. And I think we took a lot away from this class, more than I thought we would be able to take from it, because, the class wasn't structured very well. But that's basically my project and what I learned from it, and hope that you guys got something out of it. And thanks for, getting on tonight, guys. Did that take care of everybody, right?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think we have to each share the link, don't we?
Yeah, well, hey, actually, Victor, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
Hey, so I think Victor hasn't gone yet either. I think
Oh,
he's
you guys
more
all
of-
already went?
Yeah, we've all done our presentation, so we can, you can do yours if you want, if you're ready to go.
Okay, well, did you guys just start, or have you been on for a while?
We've been on for a while. We've all presented, so we got on about 7:30 is kind of when we all kind of got on.
Okay.
So,
Well, I didn't actually put together a presentation. I was just gonna kind of like, I typed it all up like in a document.
that's fine. Yeah, we don't. The PowerPoint presentation was kind of a, you can do it. You can do an outline. You can do a write-up, whatever. Just take 5 to 7 minutes to kind of talk about your experience with the presentation.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
So,
Yeah, I can do that. That's cool.
okay.
So, I mean, starting out with this assignment and everything, I thought was kind of an interesting take. So I just kind of started working with it, and I feel like throughout the entire class, I felt like we weren't hearing anything from the teacher, but I just continued to work with it, and I feel like it kind of helped me learn a little bit better of this assignment, because I feel like it helped me understand a little bit more of personal accountability. I worked with my main goal was really to become more in tune with the Spirit, and I feel like I had a lot of goals to kind of work towards that, and I feel like I've definitely felt that. And I kind of worked with kind of using free time as my drive. Like if I didn't complete with my goals, I wouldn't really allow myself as much free time. So anyways, I actually had some pretty good success. Another thing that I was really working on was to kind of educate myself a little bit more on physical health, especially with food and stuff, and how to eat correctly. I recently got married about a year ago, so I feel like it's trying to adapt to that without going in the wrong direction with that. I feel like that was just a really good idea for me, and I feel like that's benefited me as well. But another thing that I've been working on is just I've got to do an internship this next semester, so I've been applying once a week, I've just set a time that I would apply to internships and stuff. So I've been working on that. But I feel like the biggest thing was just was holding myself accountable for the times that I feel like I could have done better. I feel like it takes a lot of integrity as well. I could have easily just told myself, "Oh, that was okay. I can still enjoy, my time as if, I did 100%." But then I kind of thought that, like, what if it was somebody else that I was grading? I probably would have been a little bit harder on them. I would have looked for things that they could have done better. So I kind of tried to take myself out of, I don't know. I didn't want to go easy on myself because I felt like I was kind of not being fair. So I had to hold myself accountable, and I feel like that took a lot of integrity and honesty. And I feel like that's definitely helped me. It's helped me know that I'm going to do what I'm saying I'm going to do. I can commit to things and really feel like I'm going to follow through with them. So I feel like I've gotten a lot better with that, and just being honest with myself and having a stronger sense of integrity in my actions and commitments and stuff like that. But I honestly do feel like the fact that the teacher was absent for a lot of this class kind of helped me understand that a little bit more, because it gave me more of a reason to rely upon myself or to rely on you guys a little bit to figure out what to do. And yeah, so I felt like this assignment was pretty good, and I'm really grateful I had such an awesome group too. Honestly, you guys have been great. But yeah, that was my presentation that I had. But I definitely feel like I've been able to get more in tune with the Spirit and understand how to hold myself a little bit more accountable for the things that I'm doing in an honest kind of way.
Well, I think everybody presented, right? I'm pretty sure everybody did. So,
Yeah.
yep, I think everybody's presented. So thanks, Victor, for sharing yours and everybody else as well. It's been a great semester, and I will upload this link to the discussion board, so you guys should see it. So
We
you
don't
guys
all have to. We don't all have to upload it, though, right?
No, I will just upload it, and then we're supposed to go on and watch other groups' presentations and comment on them.
Okay.
But that's it. That's pretty much it. So, okay.
All right.
Thanks,
So,
guys.
good luck with you guys and the rest of your classes or semesters or life in general, and maybe we'll be in a different class next semester, or if you're done with your school, sweet. I've only got 2 semesters left, so I'm kind of excited about that. So,
Yeah, thanks. I graduate this semester.
sweet.
Congrats.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thanks,
Talk
guys.
to you later. Thanks,
Have a good
everybody.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. See you
Bye.
guys.
Bye. Bye.